There are basically two types of web pages available. One is static web page and another one is dynamic web page. Let's understand the static web page first. So what is a static web page? It is one of those content that does not change with time, which means that whenever you go to some website and it is not a interactive one, that it is not changing its web fronts, web pages, so that is called static one. Web pages of this type do not need to be interactive. These pages are often used to display static information such as name of the company or its goal or mission or vision or address bar or anything, any type of information which does not need to be changed. So these kind of web pages are called static one. So these are also known as flat or stationary web pages. They are always loaded on the client's server as exactly they are stored on the web server. Such web pages contain only static information. The user can read the information but can't do any modification or interact with the information. The static web pages can be created using HTML only. Static web pages are only used when the information is no more required to be modified. So these kind of web pages are called static one. So let's move to the dynamic one. So dynamic one is completely different from static one. So the dynamic web pages are constantly updated one. They are called dynamic because they interact with the server constantly, and their content is updated constantly based on the data sent by the server. They are useful for displaying information that continues to be changed for the user over time. One of the cool example of these dynamic web pages are the news one. You always see some kind of news is flashing over the web page, that is called dynamic web page. So on dynamic web pages, some changes are always happening on the server itself. So it it always differs with different point of time. It is always possible to change a portion of the web page without loading the entire web server. So and that can be used that can be possible using some kind of technology. One of the famous technology is Ajax technology. So there are multiple type of dynamic pages as well. That is server side dynamic web pages and client side dynamic pages. The server side our one, which are used creating the server side scripting. There are server side scripting parameters that determine how to assemble a new web page, which also includes settling up of more client side processes. And the client side dynamic pages are those which is processed using client-side scripting such as JavaScript. So when then the information is passed using the DOM. DOM is document object modeling, and you will get to know all of these things in the later lectures as well. So we can use the scripting language for making our web pages dynamic, and one of the most famous scripting languages is JavaScript. So what is the scripting language? Scripting language are like programming language that allow you to write program in the form of script. These scripts are interpreted, not contained and executed by line. So scripting language is used to create dynamic web pages. So we will learn how many kinds of scripting language are there in the later sections. Right now, let me tell you a cool thing about the JavaScript, that there is a entire satellite, like there is a satellite that is entirely run over one of the versions of JavaScript. So JavaScript is one of the most powerful languages in the market right now. So that is why we are focusing on JavaScript itself. So let's move to the next section.